Hello and welcome to Maha Battle, the battle for Maharashtra and Haryana on the day that in fact we got a verdict that is perhaps not entirely to the BJP's liking. No doubt it's elated with the outcome in Maharashtra, but somewhat dismayed, I would say, with the outcome in Maharashtra, but elated with the outcome from Haryana. Also, it's a day on which Congress has met with gloom, perhaps even with a sense of doom. But there is a clear silver lining, of course, for the Shiv Sena, and one that the NCP thinks it can craft for itself as the results come out. So over the next 1 hour, we'll answer those questions as we analyze and we track the various steps being taken to form a government in Mumbai. We have with me a star-studded panel of guests over the next 1 hour and several leading politicians who will be joining us as well. My guests here in studio are Shashadri Chari, the National Executive Member of the BJP, Mani Shankar Iyer, former Congress Minister and Congress MP. Joining us soon, the Editorial Advisor of the India Today Group, Shekhar Gupta, Surjit Ballad, Chairman of Oxus Investments, and the well-known columnist and journalist, Siddharth Bhatia. Gentlemen, let's start with that googly that was bowled by the NCP around about 3:30 in the afternoon. It seems to have stirred the situation enormously. How do you judge it, Siddharth Bhatia? A clever move or a sign of desperation from a party that suddenly discovers that it's on the wrong side of this election?
Well, the conspiracy theory, one way to apply that, would be that there is some kind of, not a deal, but some arrangement whereby the NCP comes out and allows the BJP to bargain harder with the Shiv Sena to say, we've got somebody. If you were to apply that theory, I don't think that is the case. I think the NCP has made a genuine offer and said that we are ready to come and give you support from the outside. And the Shiv Sena has now reacted to it. As you can see, they've made the call and everything. And so I think the NCP also may be indulging in a bit of self-preservation here.
Can I bring you in on that point, Shashadri Chari? How does your party view the possibility, I'm going to stand up and come around so I can see you better. How does your party view the possibility of outside support from the NCP, a party that Mr. Modi had said publicly was a naturally corrupt party? Do you see this as a lifeline that gives you more leverage to bargain with the Shiv Sena? Or are you a little embarrassed by this?
No, we are not here to comment on what the NCP says. If whatever NCP says, we have not written to them. Unlike the Aam Aadmi Party, which wrote to Congress and other people seeking support, giving them 10 points and supporters on 10 points. We have not given any points, nothing. We stand by what we have said as far as NCP is concerned. It is for the NCP to come out and support us. That is what they have done. We have not commented on it and we are not going to comment on it.
But no, the interesting thing is that you haven't rejected it. You haven't rejected it. The statements made by Amit Shah sound as if you're welcoming of it. And certainly what you know, and you can't deny, is that it gives you space and room and leverage to bargain more toughly with the Shiv Sena. It suits you. This is exactly what you wanted, to give you that time and to give you that strength.
If NCP has made a statement and if it suits us, that's a very different issue. But we have not asked the NCP for any support and we have not yet commented on it. We still believe that Shiv Sena and BJP are natural partners. We are still, there is a Shiv Sena MP as a minister in our cabinet at the center, and we have got.
The question is for how long? The question is for how long?
No,
before I come to Mani,
because and what Uddhav Thackeray has said, if you go by that, he has said, he has left enough message saying that if I am approached, they are prepared to do business with us, and that is exactly what we are waiting for.
Let me come to you, Manisha ji, and pick up on a thought that was inherent in what Siddharth was saying, which is that, is there a sense in which there is some pre-arrangement in this suggestion or offer from the NCP? After all, there was speculation right up till voting day of the possibility of the NCP supporting the BJP from outside. When I questioned Praful Patel, he refused to deny the possibility. He actually evaded it on 2 or 3 separate occasions just last Friday. So do you think there could have been some sense of understanding? Because the speed with which the offer came from the NCP was startling. And the warm reception that it's got, in the sense that it hasn't been rejected by the BJP, was also surprising. And it's unnerved Uddhav Thackeray, just as the Shiv Sena was beginning to smile and feel that they had perhaps a key, if not a full remote control in their hands. So do you think this was somehow arranged?
Well, we wouldn't ever know it was arranged, but on the face of it, definitely some compulsion on the part of the NCP to come calling even before a knock had been made. So some compulsion on their part clearly to come and say, oh, we'll give you the support, and certainly the evidence of some factionalism, some differences, as I would say, of thinking within the BJP of what pathway to take once you've got this type of a mandate, which is a de novo type of mandate for the BJP in Maharashtra, never having got this kind of a number on its own. So it's gone solo until now. It needs those numbers, and here's a party that comes knocking on its doors. There is the talk in the background of people having personal relationships, so one will see whether it's a preference for personal relationships or it's clean politics that prevails.
You know, you began by saying some compulsion, and you used that word compulsion at least 3 times. Do you think, in fact, the NCP is worried that the scams and the possible allegations that they face that could lead perhaps to potential FIRs is something they need to protect themselves against? And is this a manipulative move to ensure they're on the right side of the BJP, so that if the BJP is now dependent on their outside support, it isn't vindictive towards them?
I put myself in the feet or in the shoes of the citizen voter, and I think, what was this moment like for me? What was this political moment like for me in Maharashtra? And all that I can hear is the promise of clean politics on the back of clean water and corruption-free methods of delivery. If that goes astray for me, I can see that even before I've called it a day, the verdict that I've given, the mandate that I've given, is somewhat astray at the point of consolidation of the sovereign.
I'll pick up on that point, but the truth is that, in fact, politicians ditching their mandate, forgetting their promises almost the day after they win their victory, is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. The people of Maharashtra may feel let down, but they've been let down many times before. But I'll pick that up in a moment's time. Let me put this to you first, Mani. NCP have been your allies for 15 years. Many of them, all of them, in fact, came from your party. The word Congress is as much a part of their name as it is your name. Do you feel a little betrayed by the speed with which they've offered outside support to BJP? And does this, in your sense, corroborate what Prithviraj Chavan was saying, that they broke with me because they wanted to join with the BJP? He even alleged that they had walked out of government so they could give the BJP a 12-day advantage because President's rule would then be declared.
First, I want to say that there's no reason for gloom or doom which you've attributed to me and to my party. The second point I want to make is that I'm delighted with the result in Maharashtra because it shows that only an unstable government can be formed. And I predict that irrespective of which game wins out temporarily, I don't think this government is going to last for its full term in Maharashtra.
You know, not only are you an optimist who manages to see the silver lining, not the cloud, but you must be a Hindu for sure if you believe in resurrection. Most people think your party is dead in the water, but you believe in resurrection, which is why you think even after 10 years buried, you can emerge like a phoenix from the ashes.
Well, you know, you first talked of a resurrection which doesn't relate to a phoenix. Then you brought in the phoenix. You can have all the metaphors that you want.
Forgive me, I don't mean to stop your eloquence, but Praful Patel is joining us. I'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Praful Patel is joining us, very much the man at the moment of the controversy. Welcome to the program, Mr. Patel. Let me begin with a simple question. What led the NCP to offer unconditional support from the outside to the BJP, and that too just 2 or 3 hours after the results became more or less crystal clear?
You see, Karan, the issue was that all of us had fought the election separately, and nobody had a mandate. But the largest mandate certainly went to the BJP. There was, you know, as the results came in the morning, there was a lot of talk that, you know, there could be a possible government which could be Shiv Sena, Congress and the NCP put together. I'm not saying anybody officially or formally approached us, but this was certainly very much being discussed and a lot of speculation. So instead of all that speculation going on, we thought it's the best thing would be to express our stand and make it very clear that yes, the largest party is the BJP, whether they have the full mandate or not, but they certainly have the largest mandate. And let them form the government, and we support it from outside.
2 quick questions before I come to more substantive issues that arise out of this offer of support. First of all, was there any understanding between you and the BJP? Were there any secret phone calls between, say, Sharad Pawar and Amit Shah and Narendra Modi? Because, as you know, and as I questioned you on Friday, the allegation doing the rounds in the run-up to the election was that you'd broken with Congress so that you could support the BJP afterwards. In fact, Prithviraj Chavan accused you of walking out of government so that President's rule could be declared, thus giving the BJP a 12-day advantage. So were there any secret talks or secret understandings?
Well, you know, this kind of, rumors have been spread by some sections. There's no point going into all that. The fact is there was no understanding, there was no meeting, there's nothing of that sort. The only limited issue, in fact, if you look at it vis-a-vis the Congress, we were asking for an equal number of seats with the Congress and power sharing. Okay. Now, at least after the results are stands vindicated, we have got the seats, and now Congress cannot say that NCP didn't deserve to have the equal number of seats. Okay, that was the issue. They kept on dragging the talks till the last 24 hours.
Let's not go to the past.
And it was like a fait accompli. We had no choice.
Mr. Patel, let's not go to the past and what broke your relationship with Congress. That's now history. I want to talk about the future that you half opened the door to.
No, but that's also part of the story in terms of being accused.
No, I want to focus on the relationship you want to forge with the BJP. Many people believe that you're motivated by the fear that your party faces so many allegations that could lead to FIRs that you want to ensure a vindictive BJP, which after all called you the naturally corrupt party of the country. And you want to ensure a BJP doesn't turn vindictive and lodge cases against you. Is this your insurance policy for the next 5 years?
They are free to do whatever they think is right. And nobody has even discussed anything with them. There's no question of even a dialogue before we've said what we did. What we've said is very, I would say, obvious and natural, that the largest party formed the government. And if at all they find us to have any issues, they are most welcome to go ahead and do whatever is necessary. I don't think, this is, and whatever is being talked about, all the issues in Maharashtra, I think this is only a canard and a campaign, and largely that time it was driven by the Congress party. It was fueled by them. Okay. That, just to put NCP in the kind of, paint them in a corner. And I think in today's day and age, can things be hidden or brushed under the carpet? Karan, I don't think so.
All right, but I don't want to focus on your broken relationship with Congress. As I said, I want to focus on the relationship you're trying to forge with the BJP. What response, if any, have you had in the last 3.5 or 4 hours since you made that offer of unconditional support from the BJP?
No, we haven't heard from them, and there's no reason. See, that's the limited point I'm making. That instead of, trying to fuel the speculation that an alternative government in Maharashtra of the Congress, NCP and the Shiv Sena can be forged, we just put an end to that speculation. That is the limited purpose, and also to respect the mandate of the people to the extent that the largest party formed the government, and we are not being party to the government, so why should we have any reasons to be defensive?
Come.
We are only saying the obvious. The largest party formed the government.
Praful Patel, you're assuming that the audience is not intelligent enough to work out your motivation. One motivation I've discussed with you, the possibility that this is an insurance policy to guarantee, or to at least try and guarantee, that Ajit Pawar and many of our other colleagues don't end up in jail. The other speculated possibility is that, in fact, you're giving the BJP time and you're giving them leverage so that they can bargain harder with the Shiv Sena and therefore not have to rush into an alliance. Now that you've given them outside support, there's no need for them to hurry to reach a conclusion with the Shiv Sena. They can even face the assembly and a vote of confidence, which they'll clearly win as long as you vote with them, which is what you've guaranteed. So what you've done is you've given the BJP time at the cost of Shiv Sena. Can you deny that?
Well, why should we worry what the Shiv Sena does? We fought an election against the Shiv Sena also, and against the Congress also. So it's not our job to keep defending and worrying about what's good for them or not. The limited point, as I said, is there was speculation in the morning. There were a lot of rumors going on in the morning about a possible three-way tie-up between the Congress, NCP and the Shiv Sena, which we only set to rest. I'm not saying that Congress or Shiv Sena has approached us, certainly not. But the fact is, these rumors were very actively being talked about and spread in Mumbai during the early hours when the counting had reached a stage where the picture was still very fuzzy. In fact, there was a time when it was almost like we were also doing reasonably. We had about 50 plus seats. Other parties also were, it was going up and down. But the limited point I'm making is that no party has got a mandate but the BJP certainly has the largest mandate. So we have to respect that. To that limited extent, whatever we've said, I don't think it is, something which is wrong or unnatural. But, unfortunately, in any political situation, damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Well, it's not a question of, forgive me, it's not a question of damned if you do, damned if you don't. This is a question of contradicting what you said earlier. And I'm going to remind you of what both Sharad Pawar and you said when you were asked
No, that's why I'm saying.
Let me finish, then you reply. When both of you...
that is what I'm saying. In the morning when the... when the rumors were going on... See, Karan, you must understand.
I'm not quoting rumors.
In the morning, there were tremendous rumors going on about a Congress, NCP and a Shiv Sena tie-up. Now, that's why I'm saying, to put that to rest and to make it very clear that let the largest party of the state, whichever has got the mandate, form the government. It was limited to that
Praful
exercise.
Patel,
and it's being read into as if, we have some other agenda.
You're arguing that you acted so swiftly to offer unconditional support because you wanted to scotch rumors that were going around this morning. Maybe you're right, maybe you're not. Many people would actually be skeptical of that claim, but let's leave that aside. I want to remind you of something that you and Sharad Pawar said repeatedly when questioned in the days before the election, whether you would end up supporting the BJP to form a government. And you said repeatedly, there is no question of us supporting or allying with a communal party. Those were your words. Those were Sharad Pawar's exact words in interviews to papers like the Economic Times. Now, you may not be allying with a communal party, but you're still supporting voluntarily, unsolicited, what you consider to be a communal party. How come you made that jump?
No. We are, in which way are we supporting them? We are not joining the government. We are not going to unilaterally keep subscribing to anything which they do which may not be palatable or acceptable to us. We are just saying that for the issue of forming a government, there is no denying.
Of course you're supporting them. Of course you're supporting them.
Of course we are supporting. No, I appreciate at this stage. See, in politics, even if there are two partners, there is always an understanding that we fought together or we are together, we will support each other. But if one of the two does something which is completely wrong, does it mean that they continue the relationship? Why Congress and NCP split?
There are two
Why did Shiv Sena and the BJP split? There were issues. Where something is not acceptable, there can always be a different view. But the point is, at this moment, we are only talking at the stage of the formation of a government. And we believe that the largest party has the mandate to form the government, and we are only putting that speculation to rest. And we are just saying that we don't subscribe to any other alternative scenario.
Can I interrupt? You're dressing up what you're doing as if it is an honorable act done in terms of democratic morality and democratic ethics. The truth is, it's not the case. You've done it either because you want an insurance policy for yourself and you're scared that without an insurance policy, your colleagues could be in jail, or you always intended to do this. And when Sharad Pawar and you were saying you wouldn't ally with the communal party, you didn't mean it. Because look at the speed with which what you considered a communal party, within 3 hours of the results becoming clear, they weren't even final, they were just becoming clear, you suddenly decided you wanted to offer support. You weren't asked to do it. You jumped in yourself.
I think, Karan, everything, has a pros and cons. If you start, that's what I said. If you do it, we feel, that there's an agenda. There's no agenda. I'm being very clear that this is absolutely driven by a situation which has got no other alternatives. The alternative is very clear that the government shall be of the BJP. They are the largest party. There was no other way any other government could have been formed. Yes, you could have some kind of bargaining here and there from others, I'm saying, to form a government. A simple thing, we've just said that let them have the government. And we are not party to the government, we are not joining the government.
Okay.
So I don't think this should really be something...
You're a very clever man, Mr. Patel, and you have a very glib and clever way with words. It's not a simple thing that you've done. It's a very neat googly that you've bowled. And I'm sure you're very proud of the way you've created a complete disturbance in Maharashtra politics with this one simple act. But one quick question before I come to my colleague Shekhar, who has a question for you. Do you have any regrets about the fact you've made Congress feel that they've been betrayed? You were allies for 15 years, staunchly opposed to the party that now you're offering outside support to. I know you've broken with them as political people who would fight an election together. But now even in terms of ideology, you've drifted away from Congress. So do you have any regrets about that?
Well, I don't think we have any regrets as far as the Congress is concerned. We've tried to be as reasonable and as responsive as allies for the last 15 years in Maharashtra, 10 years in Delhi. I don't think we gave a single occasion for them to feel embarrassed about our conduct. But the fact of the matter is that Congress is also, you know, the way it's conducting itself. Look at our own alliance in Maharashtra. We were only asking for something which is fair and reasonable, and that stands vindicated by the results itself. And if we had got what we had asked for, which was again reasonable, I don't think a situation like this would have emerged. Unfortunately, a lot of things, you know, are adrift in the Congress. Probably for their own reasons. I have no right to, you know, talk about the Congress's internal politics. But the fact is that they have, you know, there has been a problem with the way they have been conducting themselves. And that has also led to a kind of a situation where in the national election, why we as NCP also, I would be at least in my right to say that we have also been suffered as a party to the losses because of the Congress's association. Not to say that we may have our own problems, but the larger picture was that the Congress party failed to deliver to the or respond to the people's aspirations, and they were the largest party.
I'm going
People
to stop
were looking at a BJP Congress
Shekhar
scenario,
Gupta,
and we
who's
were
with
only
me,
a part
wants to
of the
ask you a
Congress.
question before we go to the break. I'll simply make one comment for the audience, which is that there are no greater and more bitter enemies than two friends who've been in a relationship in part with each other. And the manner in which you're talking about Congress certainly seems to prove that adage. Shekhar, one quick question.
Well, Praful, first of all, does it tell us that what you are doing now, or what you're trying to do now? We saw a trailer in what Purno Sangma did earlier. He went off to the BJP earlier, and you waited. I mean, it's a bit rich for you now to say that alliance with Congress has worked to your detriment after you've shared power with them for 15 years in India's richest state. 15 years in India's richest state, and for 10 years in all of India. This is 15 plus 10, 25 years of power, and now I mean, this is really a case of "Nauso chuhe kha ke billi haj ko chali." I mean, how else do I put it?
No. Shekhar, no, not at all. I never said that what did I say earlier? That we were very responsible allies. We never gave any occasion for the Congress or anybody to feel,
are you grateful allies or not?
The relationship. I am just, I am complaining, no Shekhar, I am complaining in the context that when we were asking for an equal number of seats in Maharashtra, which now stands vindicated post the results of the election, the Congress took a very different line, and they just kept us, in the dark till the very last moment. I mean, why could they not have told us very clearly that this is it, whether we give it or not? Then it would have been our call.
Can I stop? Mr. Patel, can I stop you there?
That's what I'm saying.
I need to take a quick break.
And I'm also saying one thing.
Stay with us.
And I'm also saying one thing. It is not chuhe khakar billi haj karne gayi. In fact, I'll be very honest and transparent that we, in fact, in the last Lok Sabha election, we could have also taken. You
I mean, it's a funny metaphor.
I need to take a break.
Which way the wind was blowing in the country. But the point was, we stood with the Congress.
Mr. Patel,
we are also a party to the losses.
Let me interrupt you. I need to, gentlemen, I need to take a break. I need to take a break. Stick with us, Praful Patel. We'll be back in 3 minutes' time. This is clearly a discussion you're enjoying, and it's clearly one the audience will learn from. This is your opportunity to explain to India that what you did was honest and sincere, not manipulative or self-interested. We'll be back in a moment.